All right, everybody. Welcome to a morning edition of Psycho's Platters, always powered by coffee each and every time. I figure if you guys are up and you are bored, you might pop in here for a little while because Lord knows, I bet you a certain major morning host had probably way too much wine. So they may do it later. Either that or, I know that Joe is doing his in about an hour. I mean, Mr. Mayo. So I don't know. I thought I'd come on here for once and just tell you all good morning. Yes, that's right. Good morning. It is a Sunday morning. The day before I go back to work. Yeah, that's right. 2 months went by like that. Split lickety. And you know what? I'll tell you something. Things improved a bunch. Okay. And I'm very happy to be able to get back to work, although I really don't want to go back to work. You get what I'm saying on all this? Probably. But remember, always powered by coffee each and every time. That is the mighty Psycho promise. I also can tell that my stomach's getting a lot better because I can almost drink a whole pot in a day. Oh. Sometimes I used to be able to do 2 pots a day. That's entirely a different story altogether. So thank you to the one person that's here. And I appreciate it. I know Psycho normally doesn't come on at 7:30 in the morning. Like I said, I have a busy day going on right now, so I thought I'd take a swing and just have a very short show, maybe 30 minutes to an hour. Just something for that coffee to go down a little bit easier for you. Or if you're a tea guy, whatever, it doesn't matter to me. I do not judge whoever's morning caffeinated beverages you have. Although saying that, some of those frou-frou Starbucks drinks, I couldn't even have those anyway. I'm a middle-aged man, goes right through. So, I don't know, I hope everybody's doing real good. I'm trying to remember here who to dedicate this to since the last episode. We'll go at least with Steve Riley, okay? I know Steve Riley passed away a couple of days ago. Steve Riley actually was a local connection to where I sort of lived. Okay, Steve Riley was a really good drummer for the Boys, the Bees. All right, Wasp, LA Guns, and I'm told I think he did an album for Keel. I'm not a big Keel fan, so I wouldn't know. But so he was all over the place. but Steve Riley, if I knew where my Boys album was, I'd show it to you. Maybe by next broadcast. They did an album called Too Wild to Tame, and it came out on Epic Records in 1978. And for us Northwest Illinoisans, that was a big deal. We did have bunches of different bands that did get signed to some of the major labels in the 70s. Cheap Trick being the king up there, okay, as far as now we're talking mid to late 70s era, all right, but Cheap Trick being your top up there. Other experiments were the Hounds. If anybody remembers the Hounds outside of Northwest Illinois, good for you, because Hounds didn't do very much. They did about maybe 2-3 albums. And then John Hunter went solo, and that didn't go very well either, I'm told. Let's see. We had another band that came out from the same area called Gambler. They ended up doing 2 albums for EMI America in the late 70s, early 80s. Let's see. Other ones that were popular around that area. We go a little more north to Milwaukee. Bad Boy was another big one. Steve Grimm's still in there. And Zeno, the original lead singer of Cheap Trick, has been singing with them for, I think, 15 to 20 years, if I remember correctly, or even more for that matter. But Steve Riley, he got his start in the Boys from Illinois. And some of the members ended up, after the band broke up, they cut a second album, which I am not entirely sure if that second album ever got released. I think it was called Dirt's Raiders, but I could be wrong on that. But they all split up. Well, sort of split up. You had like 3 of the band members turned into, including with Riley, into the Bees. All right. Now that album came out in '82 on Epic Records also, but the Bees had a very interesting musical footnote. Okay. They were the only band in the history of American Bandstand to be on when they were unsigned. Yeah, people pulled a favor card, and that's how the Bees got on American Bandstand. The appearances on YouTube, you can look at that. It was a really good performance. But Steve Riley was in the Bees. Bees break up. So when they break up, that's when Riley started doing his drumming for all the other ones, Wasp, Belly Guns. And the only other one to really come out of there was Tom Holland, who he ended up pretty much formed the band Holland, which you had your killer guitar player Michelangelo, a.k.a. Michael Baccio. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. That's where he started from, was Holland. And then jumped to Nitro, and then you've got all that other stuff. Anytime I ever think about Michelangelo, it's that 4-neck guitar. If you guys know what I'm talking about from watching that Nitro video where he's got the 4 necks and he's trying to go, it's pretty crazy stuff, I'll tell you that. So Steve Riley, this I think is the only musical death that I remember seeing in the last few days. Keep your prayers going for Denny Lane. I guess he's not really doing really well. I remember catching an update basically saying increase your prayers and such. I'm like, uh-oh. So I hope he pulls through, because you know what, he was a really damn good musician. He really, really was. Being from Moody Blues to some of his own work. I think he had a band called Balls. Yeah, my turn to say Balls this morning. And then of course Paul McCartney and Wings. For all that time from 71 all the way to 81. Yeah. And then I think it was by 82, Denny had a falling out with Paul. I thought I heard it had something pretty much to do with, money mainly and such. But, I bet you Denny's got quite a lot of stories being in that band for about 11 years. I'm surprised he's never wrote a book. Maybe Paul went off and threatened to cease and desist on him. I don't know. I'm just talking out of turn here, kids. This is musical armchair quarterback. But if Denny Lane did write a book, about his life and the Moody's, and then his short time there, and then Wings and etc., would you buy it? I'd be curious. I bet you there's a lot of interesting stuff he'd have. I keep hearing, and I think it's next year in 24, we're going to be finally getting the Mal Evans diaries for Beatle-related stuff. Of course, I'm not entirely sure how much of that is going to be redacted or censored or whatever, if you will. Hopefully none of it, because I think that's just the way it should be. Mal died a very bad, strange death, honestly. He, I don't know. I just don't know. But anyways, so I hope everybody's been doing good. Veterans Day was yesterday. I want to salute all the veterans, if there is any out there in the VC. And outside of that, thank you for the service that you guys provided for the protection of our nation here and abroad. We love you guys. My executive producer, Donna Jo Catley, is a veteran. Yes. A very wonderful veteran too. So I do have a handful of vinyl finds for the 2 people that are in here. Yeah, I know. I'm not used to doing morning stuff. Like I said, it's just going to be a short thing. It's going to be a short thing. I know. Just got up myself, bully. Yeah, I know, right? Right, Mike? I'll tell you. Like I said, I normally don't do this, but you know what, guys? I'm not going to lie to you. The whole almost 2 months that I was convalescing, if you will, I never slept in. Honest to God, I don't think I ever slept in. You know what I mean? I did sleep 12 to 16 hours, but I'm telling you, I was usually up between 6 and 7 in the morning when I really didn't have to be up at 6 and 7 in the morning. You get my drift. So starting tomorrow, I get to get back into the swing of things. 7:30 in the morning. I got to get up every day. So, but yeah, I thought I'd come on here for a little while to fill a little bit of the hole. I said hole of between Rach and Mayo. Mayo will be on in about less than an hour. My screen is doing crazy things. Yeah, I did see that. I don't know why. I have no explanation. Hell, maybe this thing's going to crap out next too. maybe the next GoFundMe I try is going to be for equipment. Oh boy. Anywho, so I got a handful of things, and I'll go off and show here. All right, if that's all right with you guys. So this first one here, I was looking for. They put out 3 albums, 65, 66, and 70. Okay, and I know maybe you're going to ask me, why did I get this specifically? Why was I looking for this? From 1965 on MGM, Keep On Dancing from the Gentrys. Yeah, here's your front, here's your back. Of course, as anybody that pretty much would know from mid-60s, you're going to be looking at that kind of label. All right, this one here, super duper clean. It really, really is. So why did I get this album, and why is that individual, sorry for the glare, important in this story? Did anybody guess before I give the answer? Anyone? Bueller? Anyone? All right. So, the Gentrys formed in 1964. They ended up, there's this many people in the band, go figure. They cut the 45, Keep On Dancing, all right, on a small label. And no, it's not our fun. But yeah, that would be funny, wouldn't it? I have a gospel album from the 70s that's got Chuck Woolery on it from Oklahoma. If I ever find that damn thing, I'll show you guys. That was amusing, finding that just in the wild. So, okay, so the Gentrys, 1964, they put out Keep On Dancing on a small label. MGM picked it up, all right? So, basically, you've got 2 people that come out of this band, all right? So, 65 and 66, you've got the lineup that's shown here, okay? The 70 album, it's only 1 original member left, and I'll explain that story in a second. But so the 2 main people that kind of broke out of this band is, the first one is Larry Raspberry. Now I know you're like, who? Who's Larry Raspberry? But he actually cut a handful of albums in the 70s and early 80s under Larry Raspberry and the High Steppers. I don't know, but that's the one of them. But the second one is a little more prolific, because in here, ladies and gentlemen, Walrus gets it. Walrus, I know, because I purposely kept this story long just to see if anybody would answer correctly. Wrestling's Jimmy Mouth of the South Heart. Absolutely correct. That is him. He looks like a baby face in that damn video. Yes. Mike, if you ever watch wrestling, which I can't remember if we've had these talks, Jimmy Mouth of the South Heart, a very colorful coat. He's got the megaphone. He was in WWF and WCW. One of Hulk Hogan's actual real best friends. Go figure. So he started here. Now I know you're like, well, why are you showing us this damn album anyway? Because it's slightly more than 30 days from now. Me and my executive producer, Donna Jo Catlady, are going to an indie wrestling, okay, an indie wrestling in Siloam Springs, Arkansas, which is the border of Arkansas, Oklahoma, okay? And so if you live on the Arkansas-Oklahoma border, or you're as far away as Tulsa even, you may want to come to this. Tickets are still available. But Jimmy, Mouth of the South Heart, will be there. I don't know why he's going to be there, but he's going to be involved in the Mid-States Wrestling event. So I'm like, of course I'm going to try to get a signed 8x10 of him looking like wrestling Jimmy Hart, but I'm like, I'm bringing this with me. And I'm like, will you sign this, please? And he'll go, oh my God. But so 65 and 66 were the first two albums on MGM. But one that's quite interesting, and I tried to find the damn thing. Somebody bought it before I could get to it, okay? But in 1969, in late 69, so Jimmy is the only original member left of the Gentrys by then, okay? Everybody else veered off. So Jimmy and a new bunch of people, you know, there's new Gentrys. And they record an album in late 69 at Sam Phillips Recording Studios, so Sun Studios in Memphis, because that's pretty much where he was from, basically, was the Memphis area. So they put the album out on Sun, very cool cover. It actually is a painting of a happy sun or whatever, okay? And the main thing here is off of that album, and if you've never heard this, I behoove you to go listen to this. Yeah, yay Memphis. Yeah, there's lots of side stories with the Memphis thing here in a minute. Sorry I'm going a little long on this, but I figured what the hell, I can do that. So, so they put out in 1970, 145 on Sun, and it's Cinnamon Girl. Now, I know that you're going, well, okay, that's Neil Young. Yes, it is. But they put out Cinnamon Girl 2 to 3 months before Neil does, okay? And I'm just sitting here and I'm going, and I've heard the Gentrys version, and I'm like, I dig it. I actually dig their version just as much as Neil Young's. The only real difference is, if you remember Neil's version, that whole little blasted guitar at the end, that's the only thing that's really different between Gentrys and Neil's version. So, which one's Bobby? Oh boy. So maybe, yeah, Memphis is a city between, that's right, between right here. Yep, Top Center Victors. Top Center Victors. So Jimmy Hart, way over there. So we'll be going to see him the 15th of December. I am looking forward to that. I'm trying to actually get the other two Gentrys albums, because I thought, you know, not just for me, but for Donna Jo Cat Lady, because, you know, I actually got her some sort of, you know, propelled a little more into she is a vinyl collector too now, you know, our executive producer. She has been for about a year or two. She collects sometimes very interesting recordings, if you will, but sometimes when we go, we're like, hey, I got a spare signed album, I'll give it to her. It's like, here you go, add it to your collection, and I love doing that when I can come up with sources. I guess he also wrote a book, too, from 2004, which I would really like to see and get. Now, get this, though, right? So how did he end up in wrestling? How did Jimmy Hart, not the Sound Hart, end up in wrestling? This is kind of a very strange story. I'm looking forward to a trip to Florida before the end of the year, a driving trip. Very much so. You may come across some very interesting southern finds, if you will. I know that if I was going down to FLA, I'd stop in Georgia, go see the Allman Brothers, The Big House, if you people know what I'm talking about, near Macon, if I remember correctly. And I'd go to Gainesville, and I'd go to a handful of other places down in Florida, you know, and maybe find some decent vinyl down there, maybe, especially Gainesville, Mr. Petty, homegrown type stuff, Mud Crutch, that kind of things. But yeah, so he ends up in wrestling, Jimmy Hart does, through Jerry the King Lawler, which I'm like, who hasn't had their career attached or sidelined or briefly interspersed with Jerry the King Lawler since the 70s? Yeah, well, only because my day is looking busy. That's why I'm doing it now. I see I throw curveballs at you people. But the question is, are they slider, spit, knuckler curveballs? That didn't sound right, but I know where the hell I'm going on this. So basically, Jerry Lawler was going to cut a record. Now, I'd be curious to find this. I don't know if it was a 45, an album, whatever, but he actually was going to cut a record in the late 70s, like around 79, 80. He was going to record. I'll just talk to my buddy into stopping at some of those places. He knows next to nothing about music, but he's a wonderful guy. Like I said, I've heard I've heard the big house in Macon, Georgia, where the Allman Brothers lived when they were cutting their teeth and getting going. There's a lot of fun treasures, I'm told, to find in that house. Yep, that's right. Breakfast with Black. And, that's funny that you're bringing that up, too, because so before Jimmy Hart landed in WWF, he was down in Memphis Wrestling. I can't remember what the hell that was called right now, but I'm going to call it Memphis Championship Wrestling. And so Lawler was cutting a record, and he knew about Jimmy Hart's musical previous experience. And so he's like, hey, will you do background vocals on this? One thing led to another. Jimmy Mouth of the South Hart, before he was Jimmy Mouth of the South Hart, actually also ended up in the AWF. Yeah, he was in the AWF for 2 years, if I remember correctly, 80 and 81, and he actually got a belt. He got a title once. And I'm just like, wow, what the hell? Yes. And that's another thing I want to talk to him about. Because, so towards the latter end of the whole Andy Kaufman, Jerry the King Lawler thing, if you remember correctly, you wrestling people, okay, Jimmy Hart was in Kaufman's corner, all right? And then he turns on him. He turns on Kaufman. I can't remember when, but it's later on, and it's before Kaufman died. And I'm just going, I'm going to ask him. I'm like, hey, how was Andy? I mean, I really kind of want to know, actually. Fox guy for years, I never knew that this was a stage thing. You know what? Neither did I. When I saw Lawler slap Kaufman, I saw that live on Letterman. I'm like, what the hell? And I'm like, Kaufman fucking fooled me. Not only did he fool me on that one, but the Fridays sketch. If you remember the restaurant, and I can't do this anymore. And then Michael Richards throws the cue cards at him. I'll tell you. Yeah, Jimmy Hart did I know why, and I like that version. I have to tell him, truthfully, why that wasn't a damn hit is beyond me, because it was a very, I like the version, okay? I do, just as much as Neil's. Little Richards from Macon, George, see, there you go. And I bet you that there is also, that's right, the architect of rock and roll. You know what? You are correct on this. I mean, let's face it, the only two I can think of from that early of a time period, because Little Richard, I think, cut his first record in 50 or 51, all right? So if we're going to go piano players, all right, just for a second here, we're going to have the triumvirate, the holy trilogy of architecture of rock and roll. You got to have Little Richard in there. You got to have Ike Turner in there. Yeah, Ike Turner. And Fats Domino. To me, those are the three that were your structure point. Structure. Yeah, I said that way. But then again, most wrestling staged, before the event who's supposed to win. Well, yes, absolutely. But as we all know, you've got to be trained. You got to be able to have, what's the word I'm thinking of here, people? Physicality. You've got to be able to do that. You have to be physically fit, really, to be, yeah, I know, right? And I like that movie. That was when I found out, was watching that Man on the Moon. I'm like, holy shit, that thing was staged the whole damn time. I'm like, should have known. Should have fucking known. And even the SNL stuff, the first time where he brings the Mighty Mouse record, and he's like, here I come to say, I'm watching this, and I'm like maybe 9, and I'm sitting here and I'm going, okay, all right. I wasn't really laughing a lot, but I'm going, okay, all right, I get it a little bit. I was only 9, but I'm like, I get it, but, so yeah, built up in dirt. Yeah, you kind of have to. Paul, you should do a poll. How many people think that Andy Kaufman's still alive? I'd love to, but I don't know how the hell you do that. I've never tried that. I've never tried to do a poll. That would be quite interesting, because I think a lot of you guys would be in the yes category, but I really do think, I hate to say this, I really do think he's dead. Yeah, Taxi, oh God. And he hated doing that show after the first season, I'm told. he said it was like a big chore to him, and I'm going, well, I kind of get it, but I'm like, that's your bread and butter, dude. That's your bread and butter. You know, I mean, I'm not saying, you know, go conform, Andy. It's just, you know, give Andy a little wiggle room on Taxi, you know? Yeah, you know what? It was a damn good sitcom. And just about, well, almost everybody out of that show went and broke on to other things. And, you know, of course, we just talked about Taxi, and I'm thinking of, and seeing the taxi cab going over the bridge right now. I got that in my head. But yeah, you know, I mean, Kaufman, oh God. I do think he's dead. I kind of do. Jeez. Although, what is it, Bob Zamuda, hope I'm pronouncing that right, he sure has kind of carried on some of the legacy, thank God, hasn't he, with Mr. Tony Clifton. He likes to do Tony Clifton every so often. You know what I'm saying? Listen to him. Quit smoking. That disturbs my throat. And then he lights a fucking cigarette. I'm like, calls people, hey, you blonde, shut up. I don't know. I don't want to offend all my 9 people. I don't want to scare them all away. But of course I can sing a very bad version of Volare as Tony Clifton. I'm just going to tell you that. That's all I'm going to say on it. He'd be 74 if he's still alive, so still possible. But how the heck does a lifetime non-smoker die of cancer? Listen, I'm going to tell you something. As we've all known, and now in 2023, there's many damn reasons to die of cancer, and not of that kind of cancer, or it was, if I remember correctly, it was a real aggressive cancer is what I thought. I ain't no doctor. Yeah, good old Tony Clifton. 20, 30 years ago, I would have said, yeah, definitely. Yeah, exactly. I don't think so now. I think he did die when he really did. Yeah, I know. But the thing is, though, now I don't know if anybody. Oh yeah, hold on a minute. I got to do it just like this. Hang on. Shut up! There's a professional on stage. Madam. God. I'm still working. This is my first cup. So there was the 2 last things that he did in 84, early 84, okay? Because if I remember correctly, he died in May or June of 84. I'm still trying to wake up. If you've never seen, and it's on YouTube, you can watch it. It was a one-off comedy music type thing called The Top. Just type in Andy Kaufman, The Top, 1984, and you'll get, you're not going to get the whole show, okay? You'll get everything but, like, after the first couple seconds of music, they have to cut them because of the potential YouTube strikes. But you're going to get everything else in the show, okay? Andy literally was a last-minute replacement. Oh, thanks. Okay. And if I remember correctly, The Top was recorded sometime in January 84. All right. I could be wrong on that too, but I think it was like late January 84. And even though he still looked like Andy, there was 2 things I noticed in that video. Number one, he seemed to be babying one of his arms. Now, they say that maybe that would have been part of the disease getting him. And then number 2, in that video, you can hear him doing that little cough thing that he started to do for like the last year of his life on and off. And I'm like, uh-oh. And yeah, well, that's the other thing. I'm told, and I could be wrong on this, but I'm told that that's why he would wear certain clothing so that you really couldn't tell that he was losing weight. But let me give you, I'm sorry, guys. I know I'm all over the place this morning, but thank you for being here. So when The Top got made in January 84, Andy was not the original guest that was supposed to do it. It was supposed to be Chevy Chase. And on YouTube, there's a very short clip about what you see and what went down. What basically was another Chevy Chase meltdown in front of a live studio audience, but somebody managed to catch at least 30 seconds of this and put it out there. You want to know what I'm talking about? Go type in Chevy Chase the Top 1984. He dresses as a punk rocker in the first sketch, and some real punks show up, you know, like real punk fans and musicians show up to slam him, and he at first thought, okay, this is funny, and then it got too aggressive, and then Chevy went all batshit and basically said, I'm done. He walked out and never came back. And Andy Kaufman, I'm told, was within proximity, and they're like, well, let's get Andy. So, I mean, Andy does a competent job, but he does seem a little out there, a little deer to the headlight look in that one. And then the last thing that I remember seeing, there was I think this was in Memphis also, actually, in '84. I want to say April of '84, and oh my God, yes, that's funny. That's funny, and I didn't even know that they were boyfriend girlfriend. They actually were attached at some point in his career before he got big. Yeah, the Andy Kaufman Show with special guest Howdy Doody. I don't get Howdy Doody, but whatever. So, but yeah, so in April '84, there's a movie premiere in Memphis, and they are they're showing Breakfast with Blassie is what they're doing. And you barely see him. He's wearing a mohawk. Andy's wearing that. You'd have to type that in. You can see it too because it exists. But he's wearing a mohawk, a small one. And people thought it's because he shaved his head or he was losing his hair or something like that. And I'm like, so you're talking about a good 6 weeks. You barely see him, but he was there at that Breakfast at Blassie. And yeah, 6 weeks later, roughly, he was dead. I'm just like, shit. Yep, Mighty Mouse. I always like Mighty Mouse. What I like about Man on the Moon is that exactly right. I was pretty happy about that. I really, really was. If I remember correctly, yes, that was the last Andy sighting. Like I said, that was recorded in April '84. I want to say early to mid-April. It was live at that time, and they had this camera going when the premiere was happening. So it's on there, though. Just look up Andy Kaufman last appearance, and it should come up that way. Yeah, see, yeah, the Mohawk clip was it. That was the last bit, I'm told anyway, unless there's something out there I don't know about. But yeah, so I want to go and torture Jimmy Hart for a few minutes if he's got the time, because we got VIP, so we're going to get to walk in 30 minutes before the doors open. So, I mean, I think the last time I checked, there was maybe about 25 people that bought those, and it was not expensive. It really wasn't. I mean, it wasn't. It was the price of a regular independent wrestling show for me to have front row and get in there early and see Jimmy Mouth of South. I've been wanting to meet him for years and years. January, Kurt Angle's coming here to Rogers at the Comic-Con, and I'm probably going to go torture him along with Sam C. Jones, who was Flash Gordon in the 1980 Flash Gordon film. I'm going to be a little goofy. I'm either going to bring my Flash Gordon DVD because I've got it, or I may bring the Queen soundtrack Flash Gordon. I know you'll be like, well, why? Well, because Sam's in the gatefold. He's all over the place in that. It's like, and because it's vinyl, and I like signed vinyl. I just do. Another guy that died kind of young was Jeff Conaway. Am I getting that right? Jeff Conway. He was in Grease also as supporter. His Love and Revenge was classic at the time. He brought his family. Yeah, I know that, right? Now I somehow missed that one back in the day. I saw all the other damn ones, but I'm like, what the hell? And I'm like, I lost it. Okay, Jeff Conaway. I was right. Yeah, and the only other one that really didn't do anything, God, what was that guy's name? He was like a quiet, timid one, all right? I think he was in like only the first 2 seasons, and then he left. Somebody help me out here that's a big Taxi fan. He's blonde, and just very quiet, laid back character. Cannot remember his name. But maybe. Yeah, I know he was in the first season, I can tell you that. Like I said, he was skinny, blonde, and had a very laid back character, very kind of quiet. But I can't remember his damn name. I don't remember him going and doing anything after the show, is what I'm getting at. And pretty much everybody else got somewhere, but yeah, Jeff Conaway, he didn't get too far, did he? That's it. Thank you. That is right. Thank you. I'm telling you, I would love to actually get that whole box set of Taxi. I think that would be pretty cool. Maybe it's reasonably priced now. I don't know. I just remember, though, that Taxi originally was an ABC property, and I remember watching the ABC Taxi, okay? But then ABC cancels them, which I think was bullshit. I'm like, whoa, and the show had decent ratings. It wasn't great, but they were decent. ABC cancels them. But what I thought was cool was Danny DeVito was a guest host on SNL shortly after the cancellation for ABC. And I don't know if maybe you guys saw this Saturday Night Live episode when it first came out, but Danny went off and said, I talked to the producers ahead of time. He goes, and since unfortunately we were not able to give you the goodbye episode we really wanted, they brought them all out. They brought every one of them out, if I remember correctly. I don't know if Andy was there that day with them, but I know they brought everybody else out. And believe it or not, because the audience went nuts seeing the cast, NBC started thinking, going, and that's how they actually got picked up for 1 season. So I never saw the NBC Taxi. I didn't, at least not that I know of, and unless they threw him in the syndicated packages. And he did seem out of place, didn't he, compared to everybody else. Carver went on to play other parts, but nothing to write home about. Christopher Lloyd was always supposed to be a one-off, huh? I'm glad that he stuck around as long as he did. What was it? The one episode I remember watching about him as Reverend Jim that cracked me up was when he's going back in the past and you see him in college and he's like he got a collegiate sweater. He's nicely cut. His hair's cut real good. And then somebody offers them, and that was the end of it. I'm like, oh my God! I said that's funny. That and I think there was 2 appearances of Victor Bono as Jim's rich father, and I'm like, Victor Bono, Mr. King Tut himself. Yes. I can't really do. I can't do Christopher Lloyd. All I just kind of blurt out is like, "Money, idiot, gigawatts." That's a shitty imitation on my part. The Road Not Taken with him. I think I might have to remember that. I remember, this has nothing to do with Taxi though, but I had to look. I tripped on a bunch of stuff on YouTube, and I tripped on an early Tom Hanks appearance on Happy Days, and I'm going, hey, I remember this damn episode, but I didn't know that he was the bully. I thought that was kind of funny. And then, of course, Bosom Buddies, but we're not going to go there. Yeah, I watched that. Him and Peter Scolari. Of course, Peter Scolari ended up on Newhart. That's right. As the boyfriend to the Dixie one. I can't remember who that was. Tom Hanks was very young. He played a young student who's stoned out of his mind. Yes. That does not surprise me. I thought maybe I did see that one, but like I said, my mind's all screwed up. Truthfully, ladies and gentlemen, Mighty Psyko exactly has been more psycho than Mighty lately. I've got, I don't know if it's the season. I really don't. I don't know if it's because, ever since Jess died, which will be going on 5 years in January, I don't feel like celebrating the holidays, okay? Thanksgiving, Christmas, I'm like, if there was a way to have like, like Adam Sandler and Click and have that remote and just press it to go faster, probably just around mid-October, I'd press that damn remote, and the next thing you know, it's March, because that's about how I feel around this time of year. Yes, she has. She does. She did. I have the box set. If you see, that would be all right. We could watch. Was that Bob James? Bob James do the Taxi theme? I'm not sure about that one. He was jazz, of course. Bob James, let me know. Below that, I know doing a morning show for a little while. Doing a morning show. I just don't know if I was going to have time today later. I usually, now that I'm going back to work though, if I'm going to do shows, guys, it's going to be, yep, that's right. Hi, Freddie. Yeah, I don't do, well, I know why you don't do holidays, okay, but yeah, I'm not a big fan of winter. You'd think I would have been because I grew up in Chicagoland for the first 40 years of my life. I stopped enjoying wintertime when I was 16 when I got my driver's license. It's true. I'm like, I hate this shit. Trying to drive in, at least, up in Chicago, you get the snowstorms, okay? We may not get Michigan snowstorms or Buffalo, New York snowstorms, but Chicago was pretty bad at getting the show and the snowstorms. What did we? Oh, was she on last night? These young whippersnappers that can stay up late. I miss Connecticut, but I know it's able to be. See, yeah, I bet. 2:30 in the morning, huh? Lisa was on at 2:30 in the morning. I just remember trying to make a brief appearance to Rachie and her 5K sub mark. And I'm just like, I don't know why my phone was fucking muted. I don't recall myself muting myself. I have a lot of technical bullshit. I see what you're saying about the changing of the hue of the screen. It just happened. It went to blue for a minute. With my luck, now this thing's going to crap out on me. Good thing I only spent about, let's see, how long ago? $80? $100? I don't know. Somewhere around there. Last I saw was 430. Yeah. Oh, big storms. And I bet you in Quahog it's ridiculous. See what I did there? But yeah, if you guys have not liked and subbed, I'm 12 away, guys. I'm 12 away from 1,000. Can you believe that? Only took almost 13 years. That's all right. That's okay. I live very close to Rhode Island, Fox Guy, right near the line. All right, let's see here. I'll show you a couple more albums, and then I'm going to depart because, like I said, I have some actual things to do today. I've got to. I promised 2 of my grandchildren that I was going to get them belated birthday gifts. So we're going to try to go to Walmart, before the major crowd comes, and let them choose a gift each. We kind of went off and we said there's only 2 rules. No RC cars and no board games. You can pretty much get anything else you want except for those 2 things. I know why for the RC car, because one of those grandkids literally unintentionally broke it in the first day. And I'm like, well, that was a waste of money. And then the board games, well, if we're adults and we have board games, we can be responsible and put our pieces and toys away, right? But when you're a kid and you're trying to play a board game, pieces always disappear all the damn time within 5 minutes, I guarantee. I was in Mass yesterday, Attleboro. I used to like to go to Providence and Cranston for the record stores. I would love to. I'll tell you something. I don't know if I'll ever go to Alaska or Hawaii. It's too expensive for me. But I would love to go and explore the continental 48 and hit up maybe several record stores in each state. I would love to do that. Maybe make a little tour out of it, like a little VC Kooks tour, if you get my drift, Three Stooges fans. Me too, back in the day when there were tons of stores on the east side in downtown Providence. I used to go to Nantucket twice a year. The only thing about living in the Middle Tennessee is there's no record stores. Maybe a good thing. You know, that surprises me, truthfully, though. Okay? It really does that in Middle Tennessee. There is no record stores. So maybe, okay. Well, obviously we know about Memphis and Nashville, okay? And Jackson, which was, if I remember correctly, the birthplace of Carl Perkins and a few other people. And Dot Records was in Gallatin, Tennessee, which I don't know where that's at. But that's the only Tennessee things I know about. Oh God, none within 90. Natick. But, so let's see. How about some other things I'll show you? All right, so I reviewed this on CD? No, 7A, long time ago, about a year or two back. But it was nice to get an original Dolenz Jones voiced Heart. That's right. Cut out hole, though, unfortunately. You do have your lyric sleeve, all right? And, of course, you're looking at red capital. Now, I would love to find, I think they made white label promos for this album, too. Eventually, I'll get that. But a lot of good people are on this album. This is not really a bad album, ladies and gentlemen. But, I mean, like, you've got all kinds. I don't know if I can see this right now. But some of the people on here, Keith Allison, of course, who was in the Raiders in his own solo thing. You've got Chip Douglas, of course. He was on here, too. Henry Dilt, also photographer on banjo, too. Oh, boy. Skip Edwards, which Skip Edwards would briefly be in Three Dog Night. Briefly. Jim Keltner, he's on here too, of course, Mr. Drummer Extraordinaire. If I remember correctly, I think Jerry Yester from Loving Spoonful and Modern Folk Quartet, he's on here too. So you got a bunch of different people on here. I'm really kind of happy to get this album, reasonably priced. I do like the place in Nashville called Vinyl Tab. It's a record store bar. That's neat. You know, there was a going back to my area of living. I never got to go into this place because every damn time that I would visit back up in Illinois, it was always closed. And now I'm told they really did close for good. But there was a record store / coffee bar, like they would serve coffee, pie, that kind of stuff, and a bunch of wine. So they're gone anyway now. If you're a big Buckingham's fan, you know, good old kind of a drag, Susan, don't you care, that kind of stuff. After everything was said and done, Nick Tefano and Carl Gimmeries, or Dennis Tefano, excuse me. I was thinking of Nick Fortuna. They both, of course, did a couple duet albums, all right? So to be able to find the other side is kind of neat. If I ever get to see the Buckinghams again, because Carl's still in there, on a nice little old label. This one here, a promo, very, very clean promo on that one. This Could Be the Night by the Modern Folk Quartet is a good song. Henry Dilt was with, oh, see, I didn't know that. Did not know that one. Natick, Missouri is like 2 miles away from where a lot of Shutter Island was filmed. Ah. That song was on the credits of the big TNT show. Very nice. You know, it's kind of funny because, all right, so you were talking about this part. So I'm in the middle of reading that Split Image Anthony Perkins biography, Mr. Psyko. You know, that Psycho. I guess he was the original Psycho, if you think about it. And they brought up, because he lived in that area for a little while when he was starting out or something like that, and they were actually talking about certain like Shutter Island, The thing I admire most about Shutter Island is it reminded me a lot of a Hitchcock film. You know what? And there's nothing wrong with that because I do like me some Hitchcock. I tried to tell you guys I wrote to Hitchcock once, never got anything back. But this 12-year-old kid, college try, and then this one here. I do like these guys. I liked them when they were in their parent band. But truthfully, this might be my favorite album from these guys so far. But I have got Flo and Eddie's Moving Targets from 1976. It is a gold stamp promo, but it also is white label, and it's beautiful. And of course, it's about the record industry and the abuse that they took. How about that, huh? That's kind of neat. So, Flo and Eddie, ladies and gentlemen, Moving Targets. I recommend that if you dug the Turtles and you like Flo and Eddie and Zappa and all that other stuff, I think you will like that album. And the title track to me is my favorite off that damn album. I like Moving Targets. I got all of Hitchcock's extant films, even all the silence. Took me dead. Well, yeah, I bet it did. That stuff is not easy to collect and acquire. I've seen a bunch of Hitchcock over the years. I saw Psycho a handful of times. The Birds, North by Northwest. Wasn't that Hitchcock? Rear Window. There's another one or two of them I know I saw. My memory is just not doing good. And of course, I remember watching Alfred Hitchcock's Presents. Good evening. Yeah. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, we're looking at about 8:20 here, my time, and the one last film was a silent. One lost film was a silent. Even Hitch himself said it wasn't a very good movie. Well, if he's admitting that, then there must be a very good reason. Oh, see, there you go. That would be fun. I don't have a Blu-ray player. I do not have a Blu-ray player. I need to get one for various reasons, especially, if I can plunk down the money someday for that Monkeys box set, the Blu-ray one, which sometimes they'll actually take it down to about $169. I wish they would take it down to about $100. It's been out now long enough. I mean, even the prices for the Batman TV show Blu-rays have gone down and such. But whatever, right? So, okay. I want everybody, you 6 people out there today, to have a great day. I hope so. Currently, we're looking at 66 degrees here and sunny. I know over by my mom in Northwest Illinois, it probably will be a little cooler than that. My Chicago Bears, unfortunately, still suck ass, even if we won three times, including last Thursday here against the Jags. I got a dear lady bestie of mine that is a Jag fan, and even she said they played like shit. And I'm like, that must be the only way we got to play, because we must have played less shitty than the Jags. I got a Blu-ray a few months ago, bought an LG player, and I plug it in my, well, see, that's good. That's a smart thing. The thing about modern Blu-ray players is they don't have RCHX, and they're all, see, I didn't know that. So you have to listen to it through TV. Oh, wow, didn't know that. You know what? You too, Fred. I want everybody, Fred, Mike, and I feel so stupid. I know your name. I do. It's just, but everybody, Victor, everybody, that's my school time. And 36, though, for you. Burr, friggity burr, I am not looking forward to that. I know that at least through the rest of the week, it's going to be low 60s during the day, and then at night, I don't think it gets any cooler than the low 40s. I don't know. I hope I'm right on that. All right, everybody. I want you guys to take care. God bless. Rock on. I appreciate you guys coming to the morning, one of the occasional rare early shows here. In about roughly 7 minutes or so, go watch me, Mr. Mayo. He will be doing his live with Q&A with Mayo. That'll be the next one I'd recommend right now. And Mike says it's 43 degrees here right now. And all right, everybody, take care. God bless. Rock on. Always powered by coffee each and every time. That is the mighty Psycho promise. And please like and sub me if you haven't done so already. All right. All right. I love you guys. I really do too. All right. Take care.